I've had with several people over the last couple of weeks since it published. And I'm just going to pop over to our website. And if you haven't seen it, please read it. Take a look, interoadvisory.com. Proximity is everything. And last week we talked about how to have a strategy going into a trade show or a conference and then manage the follow-up after that conference. And Matt, I think it was kind of an interesting conversation last week because right now we're in prime trade show and conference season, and there's a whole lot more coming up in the spring. So we really want to have people prepared.
Yep.
And when you think about those live events, the opportunities are so great, even just in a networking event, right?
Yep.
So when you are planning your week, whether it's for a major event like a trade show or a conference, or it's just a networking event, think about how you can get a head start. And that's all about being prepared and planning for what you want to accomplish. Who do you want to meet when you're there? And if you don't think this strategically, just give it a test and see how it works for you. So definitely check out the blog post if you haven't read it. I want to pop back over, and because we talked about the whole idea of getting your network prepared and getting yourself prepared for a trade show or conference, today I want to just take a little bit of a different tact, which is looking up groups in LinkedIn. Matt, how do you use groups in LinkedIn?
Very sparingly. It's probably an area of LinkedIn that I don't focus heavily on, but we've had conversations about me getting more involved and plugged into people in my industry, and you had mentioned groups would be a good way to do that.
So what I like about groups is that they expand your network without necessarily connecting with those people in that group. Now, you might say, well, why would you do that? And it may be because you need to jumpstart a network. If you are in business development and sales and you are new to your industry, you really need to jumpstart your network. So let's just take a look here on the screen. If you look in the top left corner, you'll see the search bar. And I'm just going to click here on groups. So you can see there's over 1.7 million groups. Do not leave the session and our conversation today thinking, oh, I should start a group. That's not why we're taking a look at this. Starting a group is a lot of work. But you'll see, and there's already 1.7 million, so you really should just jump in to what's already there and see how you can maximize the effectiveness of being in that group for yourself by just participating and joining. So here, 1.7 million groups. If I come in and I look at, for example, sales, I can see that there's 39,660 results for groups related to sales. Notice sales best practices, 325,000 members in that group. That's pretty substantial. Business development, 330,000. These look like they're open groups, meaning if you click join, you'll be in that group automatically. Other groups are going to be smaller. And think about having a combination of open groups where there's a lot of people, because that will help you jumpstart your network. And then smaller groups where there may not be as many people, but they're having really good conversations. So take a look and start to think about maybe your industry. So for example, Matt, give me an industry.
Web development.
Web development. So let's see how many groups are related to, so this is interesting. It just took us to something else. So I'm going to put in web development. I'm going to put it in quotations so it sees it as one phrase. I'm going to go back to groups because it's now showing me people, and there are 8,200 groups related to web development. Probably a good place to start. And maybe, and I'm just going to do this, web development and WordPress. Is WordPress one word, right, Matt? Okay. Let's just see if that helps. So now there's 309 groups related to web development and WordPress. So the word "and" in this search is a Boolean modifier, it must always be capitalized. So here I'm compressing my search because now I want to just look within that search and say I don't want just web development, but I want to just find the people and the groups related to WordPress.
And you could use an or there too, so you could do a web development.
So for
or
example,
WordPress.
right,
It'll give you both.
Right, or so now it's giving us 309 results.
Interesting. Okay.
Okay. So or will expand your search. The word and will compress and give you a smaller, more targeted group. So, but remember, or and must be capitalized or it will not work. So once I look at this, so if I look at this particular group, I can then request to join. I can see any of my connections that are in this group. So this is not my industry. I can see the admins and I can learn a little bit about the group and the rules. Do not join groups to just spam them with your sales pitch. That would be a very bad thing to do. And most likely you will get kicked out of that group. LinkedIn doesn't like that, and the admins are really mindful of that because they want people in the group who are talking about what they want that group to be focused on. So one of the other things you can do, Matt, call out a city.
Atlanta.
So now I'm putting in Atlanta. I'm going to come down to more. I'm going to look and see that there are 4,200, a little bit more than 4,200 groups in Atlanta. So maybe you want to be doing some networking. So notice there's 11,700 members in the group Network Under 40 in Atlanta. Think about joining groups related to industry, like we just looked at web development and WordPress, and geographies. You can search these many different ways. The last one I'm going to show you is how about, let's say, university. So I'm going to just choose University of Maryland. There's probably an alumni group related to that. Now I can see the alumni here, but there's probably, if we go back, let's see if there's any groups related to University of Maryland. I would be surprised if there are not. Right, 574 groups related to University of Maryland. If you've gone to Maryland, think about joining any one of those groups that are most relevant to who you are. So University of Maryland alumni, 5,800 people. Built-in common denominator. People love to talk about where they went to school. So 3 ways to search and consider using groups to expand or deepen your network with the right people. So from there, we're going to jump in a little bit later in our group coaching session on strategy through Inside, our online learning platform, and talk more about this. So on Inside, we want you to experience even greater in-depth information, knowledge, and thought sharing. So consider joining Inside. You can find Inside at inside.interoadvisory.com. Once again, inside.interoadvisory.com, and you'll see from our member dashboard, we have lots of learning modules, group coaching, which we'll be doing shortly, our live streams, and then our resources. There is so much value in this, and really the key to it, I think, is the group coaching.
Agreed.
Right? We have lots of people coming on, talking with us, asking us questions, sending us questions, and it's really, we want to make it really interactive. So if you want to learn more about how to maximize LinkedIn for your branding, business development, or recruiting efforts, please consider joining Inside, and we'll see you there.